Well, UBS's first quarter earnings beat the street thanks in part to its wealth management division, which reported its strongest inflow of new money since the end of 2007. What's ahead for the world's second largest wealth manager? Well, we have with us now the CEO of UBS Wealth Management for the Americas, Bob McCann, in a Bloomberg exclusive. Great to have you back here.
Thank you, Margaret. It's nice to be back.
You know, you look at the print this morning, you see absolute excitement about a LinkedIn IPO, and yet we've got this backdrop of anemic economic data. What are you telling clients?
Well, the environment in wealth management and the environment for the individual investor is clearly better than it was a year or 18 months ago, but it's hardly robust. The world is a scary place. We see the concerns of our clients migrating towards more macro issues as opposed to a year ago when they might be have been concerned about their portfolio. Today it's things like the size of the national debt, employment prospects, a little better news on employment today, but that's still a concern. And then the general competitiveness of the United States comes up with our clients. But clients are slowly working their way back into risk-based assets. But make no mistake about it, the individual investor was traumatized by the financial crisis, affected them deeply, emotionally and financially. And an important part of our job, our advisor's job, is working with clients to get them to focus on their long-term goals and then have the asset allocation and investments to allow them to reach them.
And being psychologists throughout it all.
There's a lot of couch time going on,
absolutely. I'm sure. Well, wealth management, though, I mean, banks are leaning more heavily on that as a source of profit. And in fact, you contributed a fair amount of that for UBS's bottom line, 50% of pre-tax profit from wealth management and retail banking. So what's your plan to grow wealth management right now? How do you do that?
Well, over the last 18 months, we've been focused on three things at UBS Wealth Management here in the United States. The first was we needed to make it an attractive place to work. We had a hard time holding on to financial advisors. That is no longer the case. Our turnover of financial advisors has gone from 17.5% in late 2009 to today it's 4.3%. So we're keeping our advisors. When you keep your advisors, it allows you to do the second thing, and that is to focus on your clients and get them advice, the clients you have, and then the prospective clients going to your question about growth.
Right.
And we're doing a better job in that, and you saw in our most recent report we had very constructive, positive net new money. And that's a good single metric when you want to talk about growth and what you're doing for your clients.
Well, I want to talk to you about the financial advisors you have, because when you came in here 18 months ago, you've been in the job now for some time, you said to me you didn't want UBS to be the high bid in the market.
Yeah, we haven't been.
You didn't want people to come in and work for you for that reason alone. Right. So what's the cost of that growth? I mean, how are you keeping and retaining talent?
Well, look, people on Wall Street are like people in any walk of life. Certainly they want to be paid fairly to take care of their family and their needs in life. But I think creating the right culture is an important part of keeping people. Make UBS Wealth Management, and I think we've made progress on this, a place that is desirable to work, that has the intellectual capital and the focus on clients that allows our advisors to then deliver for the end client, deliver for their client. And I think we're doing a great job at that. We haven't been the most aggressive recruiter. We do some recruiting.
You have about 15 new financial advisors you added
in the quarter.
This quarter. Are you still hiring?
I think we are still hiring. Hired 15 last week, as a matter of fact. But I got to tell you, the real focus that people don't talk about enough, it isn't about recruiting the new ones. It's keeping the ones that you have.
Right.
And giving them the tools and the solutions and the market intelligence to be able to deliver for their clients. I focus much more on retention than I do on recruiting, Margaret.
I want to ask you about the future of the business. I know analysts out there talking about the possibility of Wells Fargo acquiring UBS. Right. What can you tell us? Have you been approached?
I can tell you that it isn't true.
You haven't been approached?
I can tell you that I have not been part of any meeting with Wells Fargo, and I can tell you that Ozzie Grubel, our group CEO, and I have been incredibly consistent in any place we've talked or written about this.
Yeah.
This is a business that is an important part of UBS. It's an important part of our platform in the Americas, and we like the wealth management business globally. It's an important part of who and what UBS is.
We got to leave it right there.